Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you about the typical types of runs that you would usually see on a training plan of any sort. So these could be training for a 5k or a 10k, a half marathon or a marathon, and these are the typical types of runs that you would usually see on any of those types of training plans. So typically I usually see 5 training runs on a training plan for any type of race. So I'm going to be talking through those. I'm going to be explaining what they are and how you usually perform them or run them. And I'll also go into my training plan, what runs I do for my training plan and how that's working for me. I've been doing it for a couple of weeks now, so it seems to be going alright. Hopefully this is of use to some people that are thinking about entering a race and they want to do their own training plan. This might give them a rough idea of what type of runs they're supposed to include. And with that said, we'll get started. So the first type of run that you will typically see on a training plan is an easy run. So this is pretty self-explanatory. It's easy, it's performed at a speed that's slower than your race pace or your desired race pace, and you should be able to hold just a full conversation with a person. These are usually designed to build up your running frequency and to increase your weekly mileage. They're not supposed to leave you tired or anything like that, and they're usually positioned as like an active recovery to let your muscles, to keep your muscles loose. So that's basically what an easy run is. They're typically 30 to 60 minutes. I think my training plan calls for 1 a week on top of the other runs that I'm doing during the week. So you start off at 30 minutes and then you slowly build up the time that you do your easy run throughout your training. So that's an easy run. So the next run that you'll typically see on a training plan is a tempo run. And this is a key session that is usually in a training plan that builds your ability to maintain a faster pace. So they're usually designed to run at faster than your long run pace, and they are usually uncomfortably manageable, so you'll be able to run them and it'll be at a pace where you'd like to slow down from that run because it's quite uncomfortable, but you don't have to, you can maintain it if you want. So tempo runs, you'll warm up for 10 minutes, you'll alternate between doing say 5 minutes of tempo and 2 minutes of easy running. You'll repeat that over a duration of 20 minutes and then you'll cool down for 10 minutes. So that's typically a tempo run. So the next run that you will typically see on a training plan, and usually these are intermediate and advanced training plans rather than beginners. Usually tempo runs and steady miles for beginners is usually sufficient for them. But if you're intermediate or advanced, you may want to incorporate some speed runs into your training plan. So speed runs are used for boosting your pace overall, and there are different types of speed runs that you can do that I'll get to in a minute. These speed runs are hard, but they don't need to be very long in duration. You don't need to do them for a very long period of time. So we'll talk about the different types of speed runs now. So the first type of speed run is an interval speed run. So I like to think of these almost as a HIIT training run. So interval runs are where you have short, intense efforts followed by like an easy or recovery jog. So you'll warm up, you'll do 2 minutes of hard effort running, and then you will go down to doing 3 minutes, like 2 to 3 minutes of easy running, and you basically just repeat that over and over again for interval running. And then obviously you cool down afterwards. Make sure you warm up properly before you start as well. The next type of running is fartlek training. So fartlek is where you have different types of paces during your run, and you can base it off time or locations. So you can say, oh well, we'll go full out speed to the lamppost 3 ahead, or you go all out for 30 seconds and then come down to a recovery jog. It's basically just, it's unstructured really, it's whatever you want. You basically just pick locations or time and you run for a hard, uncomfortable pace, and then you bring it down to a recovery jog and you repeat for the duration of your run. So typically my speed runs are 30 to 45 minutes, and if I wanted to do fartlek training, then I would just pick locations. I would pick to go to that lamppost or run up to that house at the bottom of the street and then recovery run. So they're the basics of intervals and fartlek training. So they're the two types of speed works that I'm familiar with. Now there is other types of runs. There's hill reps and strides and track workouts that people usually do for speed runs as well, but I'm not too familiar with them, so I won't go into explaining them just in case I get them wrong. But I will leave a website link below to the different explanations of speed runs, so if anyone wants to know about the other different ones that are available for speed runs, then you can check that out in the description. The next run that you usually always see on a training plan is a long run. Again, these are pretty self-explanatory. They're your long run of the week. They're the longest mileage that you will do during the week, and they're usually done at a pace where you can talk comfortably, almost like an easy pace. Just something where you can hold a conversation the whole run. If you run too fast, you're going to tire yourself out, and that's not good for long runs. You need to be able to sustain a pace over the whole of the mileage that you're doing. Typically, for half marathon training at least, you start at 6 miles and then build your way up. Some training plans are different, that's just the way mine is. And that seems to be fine for me, so I go from 6 miles and my mileage just keeps building up until I get to almost race day, and then I'll start my taper week, so my mileage will come back down again. So the last and final run that I sometimes see on training plans, but not all of them, are recovery runs. So these are typically done after long runs, and they are used as an active recovery, but they can be omitted for a rest day. So I usually have rest days, I don't have recovery days. But if you are going to incorporate recovery runs in, then they should be easy and very short. There shouldn't be any sort of considerate distance. They are literally just a recovery run. Rest is vital for the release of growth hormones that help to repair your muscles, so you definitely need to make sure that you get in your rest in between training runs. And that's it for all the runs that I usually typically see on a training plan, and they're most of the ones that I have in mind, bar the recovery run. Like I said, I usually take a rest. So I am doing my half marathon training at the moment. My half marathon training is 12 weeks long, and I have 4 runs during the week. I have a easy run, a tempo run, a speed run and a long run. So I'll show you. You obviously won't be able to see it, but you'll be able to see the gist of what I'm doing. So typically on Monday it's a rest, so I will typically go swimming or do some sort of cross training like yoga. I won't have any runs that day. And then on Tuesday I usually have an easy and I had an easy run for the first week of my training, but it will become a tempo run for the rest of the 11 weeks of my training. Then on Wednesday I have a rest or a walk, cross train, yoga, swimming, anything like that. Then on Thursday I have an easy run, and on Friday I have speed runs. On Saturday I rest, cross train, yoga, whatever, and then on Sunday is my long run. So basically at the moment I am doing 3 miles tempo. That'll start building up. I'll go to 4, then 5. It'll stay around 4 and 5 for my tempo runs on the Tuesdays. Then on Thursdays for my easy runs, it starts at 30 minutes. So I'm started at 30 minutes at the moment, and I'll build my way up to 60 minutes easy, and then I'll obviously come down for taper week. Then speed runs, as I said earlier, my speed runs don't go above 45 minutes. So at the moment I'm doing 30-minute speed runs, and they will build up over time to 40-45 minutes. Then my long runs, I'm doing 6 miles at the moment, and it'll go all the way up to 12 miles. I don't do the full 13.1, and most training plans don't go up to the full distance. You always stay just a bit behind. You don't always go for full distance on a training plan. Usually you will find that extra momentum to do the last mile that you need on race day. So yeah, that's my typical run schedule for the week, and my training plan seems to be going alright so far. So my training plan was made by Totally Fueled, so I'll leave all their links below. They provide fuel for training, but they allowed me to have one of their training plans, so I'm on their intermediate training plan. But you obviously can build your own training plan based off the runs that I've talked about today, or you can find different training plans online. There is an abundance of them online. If you just Google training plans for a specific race that you want to do, then there'll be loads that come up, usually half marathons and stuff like that, like the Great North Run that I'll be training for in September. They usually have a training plan on their website that you can follow along, and they will have these sorts of typical runs in them. So I hope that this video is helpful to someone that maybe didn't know the word fartlek and didn't know what it meant, and now you will. So yeah, like I said, if you found this video helpful, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more running videos, and I'll be doing yoga videos, health and fitness, recipes. I'll be talking a lot about my weight loss as well. So yeah, I think that's about it. If you think I missed any particular runs out, then leave them in the comments. If you've got any suggestions for future videos, then please leave them in the comments as well. But other than that, I think that's it. I hope you've all had a good week, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye!